when we refinanced it in 2002, I think I'm answering your question. If I'm not, please steer me the right way. In 2003, 2004, like I said, we financed it with the first debt. We also have a second and third debt on the property, as well as federal historic credits, which is equity, as well as 4% low-income housing tax credits, which is also equity. And then when we fast forward to 2015, we did another first mortgage, or I'll call it first mortgage on the property. We did 9% tax credits, which is an equity piece, federal historic tax credits, which is an equity piece as well, and we still have the second and third debt on here. So there is it's a blend of debt and equity on the building. The ASU thing was basically, it was an interesting lease because they paid for the tenant improvements, but they also, through rent credits that we gave them over the next 10 years, they paid for the vanilla box work. So it's getting everything up, it's stripping down the space, it's cleaning it up environmentally, it's getting it up to their standards, like I said, the floor needed to be smoothed out and stuff like that, the contra room fixed. As far as that floor, certain things, HVAC, all the mechanicals needed to be upgraded because that space had sat vacant for about 10, 15, maybe even 20 years. And what we get from them is income from the lease that they signed. It's a 15-year lease that we'll move forward with. So.
Wow, 15-year lease, that's great.
Yeah. So, and the federal historic, the federal historic credits that we have on the building, the elements in the ASU space needed to meet the criteria to pass to get the credits that we get from the building, but no money was used from the federal that segments. So no money from the federal historic credits were used in the build out of the ASU space. I don't know if that, nor any of the money from the equity from the 9% low-income housing tax credits was used for that, nor any money from the debt. However, in the financing package, the income is income to the property, which helped us with the loan proceeds and that type of stuff. So.
Okay, great. Yeah, so ASU is with its own sort of entity in a way.
It's not technically condoed out, and I'm sure, I don't know if your dad's a real estate, you can condo out the building, so this is like a separate deal versus this part of the building, but it's not technically that way, but it is from a segment funds, if that makes sense.
Oh my gosh, I would not want to be on the financing side of this. There are so many moving puzzle pieces.
Yeah, trust me. I can tell you that story too.
Yeah. So I guess one of my kind of last couple questions, moving forward, so if ASU is kind of signed into a 15-year lease, which has got to be nice, like a brush off the shoulder, that's going to feel good. What else is kind of going to be going on looking into the future of the building, or do you feel like the dust is finally settling to the point where it can finally survive and thrive for a while without having to touch it?
Yeah, we think we're putting the building on the right path for the next probably 20 to 30 years at this point. When we originally bought the building and did the conversion, $6 million really wasn't enough, right? And then when we refinanced it back in 2003, 2004, $10 million really wasn't enough to do the upgrades to the mechanicals and other work elements. We really feel like this round, with the addition of ASU, with all the proceeds and the amount of money that we're putting into the building and solving probably the last two major issues. It's a 1928 building, so I kind of cross my fingers a little bit. Something could go wrong in a 1928 building, but we're solving the last major issue, which is plumbing, which we're replacing the original plumbing in the building in both the J wing and the tower. The elevators are going to be brand new, and then with the addition of the other work, in-unit stuff, like I said, kitchen cabinets, new bathrooms, some of the flooring that we have in some of the different units, and those type improvements, we really think the building is just going to be on the right path as far as operating and going forward, and lower maintenance expenses, lower energy costs based on the equipment that we're putting into it. And like I said, with the addition of the ASU and the services that we offer, we really think that it's a real home run at this point. If we had another $5 million, I'm sure we could find a home for it around here to do, fix additional things in the building. But like I said, we really think that this is the last major issue was the plumbing to be solved and the elevators to be solved in the tower building. So we think it's really going to be really well operated as we go forward here. So yeah.
Great. Is there anything that you might want to add? Do you feel like I didn't really touch on the area that you would kind of like to highlight at all?
No, not off the top of my head, because I think we've walked through. I mean, the history is rich. I think you said you're going to cover that, and other folks are going to cover that. But I mean, to put this building back on the right path, I think after probably 30 years and 35 years of chipping away at it, and we stuck with it, and we stuck around to be able to put the building on the right path and regain hopefully some of that prominence it's always had in the city of Phoenix. I think is just something that we're proud of, and we really look forward to working for it. To restore some of the stuff in like I mentioned, the Concha room before, where like I said, Jackie Gleason entertained. I think Ronald Reagan spoke there, Richard Nixon spoke there, and we had some other, I can't remember the performers off the top of my head, but to have those spaces now put back to almost their original luster is just really something we're really proud of. So yeah.
I like it.
All right.
Oh, not too hard.